So this is asked by Siran Mukherjee. This is a Dr. Siran Mukherjee from Delhi. This question has two parts, Swami, so I'll first read out the first part. Can one play mantra as, for instance, Lakshmi Sahasranama or Vishnu Sahasranama during meditation? So if so, what's the reason for the same? If yes, what is the impact? If not, why should it not be done? Please guide Swamiji.
I would say yes and no. Let me start with yes first. For beginners, for novice meditation practitioners, it is okay. But as you become more and more adept at it, you practice more, you become more better at it, I think it's better to get rid of anything that is external, whether it is a mantra or a sound or an image. But in the beginning stages, I think it's okay, because everybody has a different mind. Everybody has different tendencies. It's not one size fits all approach doesn't work. So, let me give you an example. Like, for example, let us say there is somebody who met with an accident and broke his leg. Now, when he is recovering, even the physiotherapist will say, okay, if you have to start walking now. And you can use a cane. You can use a stick or a cane, which is perfectly okay. But no physiotherapist would advise to keep using that cane forever. So at some point of time, you have to give up the cane. So what is very important is that even though we can use such means or such accessories, you can say mental accessories in the beginning, but I won't advise it forever, right? Another example you take, like for example, when a small child is crying, you want to give it a pacifier, because otherwise the child will just not stop crying. But you don't want to keep that pacifier in child's mouth forever. So similar is the case of the mind. For a restless mind, which is not able to directly become one-pointed, because it needs a lot of practice. For such a mind, using a sound of a mantra, or it could even be a music, or it could even be an image, is perfectly okay. Even that is meditation. Here also, Amma conducts guided meditations, and lot of it has visualization and sound involved. Because in general, the nature of mind of an average human being is very restless, even though we may not know it, but it is very restless. In fact, in our scriptures and in many places, the mind is compared to a monkey which is drunk, right? And not just drunk, it is bitten by a scorpio. And to top it all, a ghost has possessed it. So you can imagine the state of the monkey. So usually a human mind is compared to such a monkey. Now, if that is the state of our mind, obviously you need some accessories, you need some techniques and methods to bring your mind to a state where it can then take the next leap further. So things like mantra, things like an image, focusing on an image. There is a technique also called Trataka. In Hatha Yoga, there is a technique called Trataka where you focus on a single point or sometimes a flame. So that is also a technique. So this creates some sort of a flow. In positive psychology, you would say a flow where you have an energized focus, full involvement and enjoyment to some extent, but very, very fully energized involvement. That is what it creates. Similar flow state is seen when, for example, a painter is completely immersed in painting, or a musician is completely immersed in singing or playing an instrument. So that kind of a flow state is created, and once you are in that flow state, it is very easy for you to take that next leap into the meditation. So even that we say is meditation. Amma says, like, for example, when you're making tea, you're boiling tea leaves. It is still not tea. It is not ready. But if somebody asks you, what are you doing? You will say, I'm making tea, right? So similarly, it is meditation in one way, because these are the preparatory steps. And once you get into that flow state, it becomes very easy for mind to, then get into deeper meditation. But having said that, now let me come to the no part of it. Why it should not be used. Because if you traditionally look at the method of yoga or the science behind yoga, let's take, for example, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. There are 8 limbs to that. I won't go into the details. It starts with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana and samadhi. Now the 5th one is pratyahara, which is withdrawal of the senses from the external world. So pratyahara is very important part of the meditation or the entire yoga science. If you want to get to a point where your dharana and dhyana is happening spontaneously, you need pratyahara. You need pratyahara. So pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses from the external world. Withdrawing the senses so that your entire energies are available for that going deep within and focusing on yourself, right? So another example which Bhagavad Gita Krishna gives is the allegory of a tortoise. Kurmongani, yeah. Yada samharte chayam kurmongani sarvashaha. So just like a tortoise, it withdraws its limbs from the external world. That is what we need to master. That is what we need to master. If we don't master that, we have not really even gone to the first ladder of yoga. But if we are too much dependent on an external sound or an external image, then we are still not there. That pratyahara has not happened. But again, there is nothing right or wrong about it. It depends on your mental evolution, at what stage you are in. In the beginning, definitely it is needed. So once you have that pratyahara, you can go to the next stage. Because without pratyahara, you cannot purify your mind. You cannot purify your mind and make it subtle enough to enter into the deeper states of meditation. That is what Krishna says also, that you need to purify with that one pointed concentration. And also, it says, keeping your senses in control, not letting your senses go here and there, with full concentration. That is very important. So if you are dependent on an external stimuli, as sensory stimuli, your senses are always dependent on something. And the whole process of meditation is about getting rid of any dependency, becoming completely free, that ultimate freedom. So as long as you are dependent on an external sensory stimuli, it's not really meditation, but it is called still meditation because it's helping you. Let me give you one more example. Many people say that they like to meditate after having a cup of coffee or cup of tea. They get good in meditation. That is what I've heard many people say. But again, see, I've even seen people saying, I get very good concentration when I smoke. But it's not really so. It's just that you feel a temporary sense of relief from the stress that is created in your mind to get an external object of desire. That's all that has happened. It's not that your meditation has become deeper or anything. Today you want one cup of tea or one smoke, one cigarette. Tomorrow you will want 2 and then 3, and it just creates more and more dependency. So that temporary relief is what people think they are getting good at meditation by having a cup of tea or having a smoke, but it's not so. Same is at a grosser level, it's tea and smoke, but at a subtle level it's music and it's some other sound. But nonetheless, in essence, it's all dependency on an external stimuli, and that is what we want to withdraw our mind from through pratyahara. And if we are able to do that, we can easily go into dharana and dhyana and everything, samadhi, which is the purpose of yoga. So, no, for a practitioner who is serious and has practiced it enough, but yes, for most of the people, on average, yes, by all means, use it, but try to come out of it also.
Thank you. That was very exciting.
Yeah.